really the most shocking, because what began to emerge was that not once, not twice, not three times, but again and again and again throughout the Talmud, Rava basically goes out to bash Mordechai, to say that he's not just not a hero, not just that he's decent, but that he's actually a kind of a bad guy. So he goes out of his way to read psukim, to read verses in the Megillah, in the book of Esther, that really cut against the grain, but that placed Mordechai in these really precarious and weird positions. So, for example, he goes out to say that Mordechai and Haman were both responsible for drinking at the king's party, at King Ahasuerus's party at the beginning of the Megillah. Now, in general, like I said before, I don't like to attribute things to Chazal, but universally, Chazal think that was pretty much the worst place people could be. And here Rava goes out of his way to place Mordechai not only at the party, but as responsible for drinking at the party. So there's that example. He reads a verse that says that Mordechai had been exiled from Jerusalem, from Yerushalayim, but he reads it to say specifically that Mordechai exiled himself. Not that he was involuntarily exiled, but that he exiled himself. So someone leaving, the holiest place in the world voluntarily, not a sign that we usually attribute to heroes. But really, the most shocking text is one in which there's this whole debate in the Gemara about it describes Mordechai as both coming from two different tribes. Because it refers to him as Ish Yemini, which it's attributed to Binyamin, and it gets into this whole dispute. But the upshot is that when Rava reads this dispute, he makes this statement that it actually would have been good if Mordechai's ancestors would have been killed, because that way Mordechai would have never been born. Now, that's not something you generally say about a hero.
Right.
And when I saw that, I was shocked. And putting those pieces together, it began to emerge for me that when Rava says, drink until you can't tell the difference between cursing Haman and blessing Mordechai, that maybe the point is, or not maybe, it started to become clear to me that the point was not that these are two polar opposites, but that the point is that you're drinking just so you can open up your mind to the possibility that this person you thought was a hero is actually not a hero, and he's actually pretty similar to the arch villain in the story, which is a radical and pretty shocking take on the holiday and on the Megillah in particular.
It becomes a very thin line. And all it takes is a cup or two of wine to really push you over into that level of understanding, right?
Yeah, exactly. And from that perspective, it's really about wine as almost a mental lubricant. It's just you might have had this preconception based on who's good, who's bad. That of course, Mordechai can't be a bad guy in the story. He's the good guy. But by drinking a little bit of wine, it can open up and lower your defense mechanisms or whatever ideas that you have, preconceived notions, and you can be more open to that possibility.